Hey yo, Bottega Veneta just came out with a new campaign and it features pgLang's Dave Free and Tyler the Creator. But honestly, on top of that, there's a whole bunch of celebrities in here and it's pretty dope. Let's talk about it. So yeah, like I said, Bottega Veneta has this new campaign out and it is called Craft is Our Language. It essentially celebrates 50 years of their iconic weave, the intrecciato. For those who don't know, in Italian, depending on where you look, that means braided, it means woven. But a little bit of backstory on Bottega Veneta is that they were founded in the mid 60s and they had machines, sewing machines that could do clothing, but they didn't have anything that could handle the leather for their goods. So they essentially came up with that weaving technique of weaving things by hand in order to make their products, and it became a signature of that brand. Again, this happened in 1975, 50 years later, 2025. Hence, the Craft is Our Language campaign. Now, the star of this campaign, so to speak, is a 1.5 minute short film that features Tyler the Creator, Dave Free, and a whole bunch of other artisans, right? Artisans are really the centerpiece of this campaign. When you go to Bottega's site, they essentially talk about the fact that they see artisans and artists the same, and that in the West, those concepts are often put at odds with each other. You can be an artisan, but not necessarily an artist in the traditional sense. But the reason why they go and get people from film, sports, and everything in between in this spot is to show that art is art, no matter the vertical that you're talking about. So when you go to Dave Free's Instagram page, you'll see him talking about craft in a certain way. When you go to Tyler, the Creator's page, you'll see him talk about craft in a certain way. And all of these are smaller moments that are a part of the larger 1.5 minute short film. Now, if we look at the spot, you'll notice, again, that hand woven theme is coming through really strong. You'll see hand gestures all throughout. And that's because when you go to Bottega's site, they talk about the fact that the hand gesture is universal. Right. I mean, I'm talking with my hands right now. You can kind of tell what I mean based on how I'm emoting with my hands. So you see these different hand gestures throughout the video. You see different artists from different verticals, from film to fashion to sports to music, talk about their vocation and talk about their art and how they approach craft and how they have an appreciation for craft. And even as someone who isn't that familiar with Bottega Veneta, I was immediately able to make the connection that things there are done by hand at their company, which is really dope. The whole film is in black and white. It has a very high art kind of feel, and you can tell that a lot of love and care was put into making this piece of content. According to Hypebeast as well, apparently a print book is coming out in September to commemorate, again, this campaign. That's like the second leg of it. So if you're into coffee table books, it's probably going to be a really good pickup because they have some of the images on their site, but I imagine some of the images that haven't been released are going to be in the coffee table book, which, again, another reason you should check out this campaign is the photos are stunning. Like, I like the video. The video is cool. The video is great. But, yo, these photos are good. I think the guy's name is Jack Davison. I was looking off camera for a second. Jack Davison killed this. And Lania Kaklea killed the choreography in the video. So, again, very stellar campaign. And this makes me think of some work Bottega Veneta did earlier this year with A$AP Rocky for Father's Day. And I'm not sure if it's part of the Craft is Our Language campaign, but I'm really starting to see a creative through line through their work. So if they have a creative agency that's working on their stuff, salute to them. They're doing a really great job. If it's all in-house, salute, because, again, I can see a lot about the brand, even though I haven't known a lot about the brand outside of just hearing the name in music transparently. But with that said, there are two key takeaways here that I think brands can take from looking at this campaign. The first one is that your advertising should speak to consumers and not at your consumers. I've been in advertising for a couple of years now. I've worked at a few creative agencies, been around a different, just been around the vibes, right? One thing I've noticed is that marketers do a lot of like patting themselves on the back and making things to impress other marketers. So I'll see someone look at work from another shop and the first reaction is, oh crap, that's so good. Man, they so because again, advertisers are artisans as well too. But I often think in this profession that sometimes the consumer is put in the back seat because the first person you want to impress is another shop. Or really the first person you want to impress is yourself, then another shop, then the trade publications, and then eventually the clients, and then at some point the consumer comes, but consumer's a little far down on that list, even though the consumer's the one who, makes the buck. It's the whole thing. So with that said, though, the reason I say that this is a lesson that brands can learn from Bottega is because when you look at the spot, it is increasingly clear what they're trying to say within like the first 15 to 20 seconds of watching. You see an artisan talking about their craft. You see the hand gestures, right? Even not knowing what Bottega makes like that, I can immediately pick up on the cues and say, okay, high fashion, leather, artistry, hand woven, hands. Okay, cool. You guys make handmade goods, even though if I don't know if the handmade goods are jewelry or leather or what have you. And I think there is a level of detail to that. And again, someone decided to put the consumer first because the messaging is very clear. It's very simple. And again, you get a pat on the back when you do stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be, putting another brand first. Like I doubt Bottega went into this thinking, oh man, like can't wait to impress Louis with this. Who knows? Maybe they did, but it feels like they put me as a consumer first. And I think other brands should do that too. Second lesson, now that I'm thinking about it, is about occupying niches within a particular subculture. Now, I think a more unskilled artisan would look at the fact that they were reaching out to hip hop stars as a part of this campaign and say, well, those hip hop guys, they like fashion, they like leather. Yeah, let's talk to them about that. And they would leave out the artistry part. But again, Bottega Veneta, these are skilled artisans. They recognize that craft is universal. Hand gestures are universal. There's a lot of universal themes here. So they reached out to two artisans who are at the best, or who are the best in their craft, right? They reached out to Dave Free of pgLang, who again, pgLang is doing some phenomenal art, not even just in music, but outside of music, just overall creative. And then Tyler, the Creator, and how he approaches his albums from, chord progression and chord structure to world building and rolling out new characters. They talk to them about being artisans, about being stewards of their craft. And I thought that was a really nice touch because most people approach subcultures in a way that's very surface level. They, sometimes the people making the work don't reflect the work. So they go for first level ties, rappers, leather, fashion, boom, let's do it. Instead of saying rapper, musician, artisan, direct tie to what we're doing, talk to them about craft. And I think Bottega did that, and that was a very clever thing to do and a dope job. And again, going back to the ASAP Rocky work from earlier this year, they could have talked to him about those same subjects, fashion, what's it like being a mogul and all that stuff. But they did something on a human level, and they talked to him about being a father and this new part of his life that's unfolding in real time. And I thought that was a nice touch. It's a white space that I think Bottega can occupy that a lot of brands haven't touched yet. And I think, if they haven't thought of that before, hey, I'm telling you to think of it now. Maybe call me, we figure some things out. But that said, this is another episode of Beats and Billboards. I think those are two lessons that brands should take away from this. And I highly encourage you to check out the work from Bottega. And yeah, man, I'll see you next week. Peace.